Hello everyone and good evening. Welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. We are back on Thursday night and we are back live after another win again last night, boys. It seems to be winning quite a lot on a Wednesday night. I ever seem to do a stream after a win every single Thursday night. But back to Thursday night football next week as well with the Europa League against Sparta Prague. But again, business done, boys. Through to next round. A bit shaky in the first half, but we got the kids on the pitch, so it took a bit of time to gel, took a bit of time to settle in. And when we did settle in, we looked a little bit better in the second half, and we got the job done. And we've got a mid-table team next round. How are you feeling?
I think we'll beat them. My problem is it's another game in the workload that I think looking at that fixture is, I don't know if it's at the end or it's in between, like a 9-day run of 4 games. So ideally, I'd rather play Forest, but I see the stat yesterday that United's the only team we've not scored against this season, and it's just crazy because they're so bad. And I just think we need to go into that game as if it's the same as playing anyone else and not look at it as if we're playing United. Because even though like the players and the manager that might not say it, but I do think there's a side of us that definitely use the mental side of thinking this is United. Like I don't know. Like when going into United, I'm never confident. I don't know why. I'm just not. Like there's just something in my mind that I always remember, like the Fergie days, and I'm never 100% confident. There's always something there, and I think it does go off onto the players as well. They might look at it like that because it's such an important fixture. But we should beat them, shouldn't we? We should do anyway.
We should beat everyone, mate. We should beat everyone that's in front of us. We've got to play what City and then maybe Real Madrid. They're the only teams that you look into a game and think we might not win this, or we shouldn't be saying should beat them, but we should be beating most teams. And good evening, Jen. Evening, boys. Says Jen. And a good evening to Stu as well. Stu is his first time tonight. We're going to go gentle on Stu tonight. We might have to lose a little lubrication tonight with him. But first and foremost, Stu, just an easy question for you, mate. An easy question for you.
Yeah.
My night next round, are we making it to the semis?
Yeah. Easy. We should be. I'm not scared of United. I don't think Liverpool should be scared of United. And not for the last, I'd say at least decade or so. We're more than enough competition for them. I mean, at the end of the day, Jayden Danns, he bagged 2 last night. That's more than Anthony's got the entire season. So,
you know what? With Jayden Danns, right? We're going to go on to Jayden Danns a little bit further on. For me, I was saying last night, I'd start him now just because just the way he finished those chances. I don't think we've got anyone like that in the team. Maybe Jota possibly in terms of clinicalness and quite composure. Salah at times, but if Nunes had that composure that Dan's had when they come on, it'd be on 30 league goals now. It would be up for Ireland numbers. And Jen's putting him the £20 ticket as per usual. I said the transfer window is now open, Jen, and we're no longer looking at transfers. This is for Xabi Alonso or Michael Edwards. This fund that you're creating for us right now. We are doing all we can for FSG to make up the money, just so we get the right people in coming in the summer. Big up, Stu, says Jen, and yes, we all welcome Stu with open arms, and we are as warm welcoming as anyone in the YouTube era. Man, you are rubbish, says Jen. The word rubbish there, Jen. I think you've maybe underestimated Man United there. Maybe you could use a little bit of harsher word if you may. Like, this is a Liverpool channel. You can go a little bit harsher on Manchester United if you do like. Rubbish is a very, very kind word. Xabi and Michael Carter. We are going to go on Xabi and Michael now, actually. I'm going to start with Xabi Alonso. According to Fraser Fletcher for Team Talk, not a reliable source. No one's, not discredited him at all. No one really knows him as much to know that source is reliable or anything like that. But he has actually said Liverpool have offered a 3-year deal for Xabi Alonso. He's also gone on to saying then Frimpong and Wirtz are 2 players that they want to bring in as well. But Wirtz's dad, who is his agent, has recently just in the last hour or so put that to bed pretty much. But 3-year deal for Alonso, is that a good deal, and how much do you believe this report as per?
I don't know if I'd believe maybe that specific person's report, but I think the 3 years makes a lot of sense. Like I think Klopp came in on 3 years, and I think we probably look at it as you're going to have to give Alonso a very big wage because I think some of you guys might have seen there was a rumor that Bayern are going to offered him a contract to become the highest paid manager in German football history. So no matter what, we've kind of got to get close with the figures. And if it's your manager, like Klopp's one of the highest paid, so I don't think we'd be afraid to do that. But if you put Alonso into like 15, 12, 16 million pounds a year, and after a year you go, oh well, he's actually not that good. Like he kind of does a Gerrard at Villa, where everything just hits the fan, and the players aren't liking it, and it just sort of goes wrong. Then you've got to pay him out if he's on a 4 or 5 year deal, you've got to pay him out substantially more money. Whereas if he's on 3 years, it's a lot easier for us to get him out of the contract. Because as good as he looks, like people might say Naby Keita looked like a slam dunk, or Eric Ten Hag or Graham Potter, and now these guys, well, Potter's on whatever £20 million a year for the next 4 years until he takes a job. So you've got to be careful, especially with how FSG are. That doesn't surprise me. Like that makes me believe probably the report a bit more.
Well, you've got to be very, very careful. We had this conversation earlier, me and Richie, on in the chat about managers taking risks and things like that. And I don't think Alonso has just as much as risk as Almiron, if that makes sense. Just in terms of Alonso, it's a massive step up for him. We can't discredit the Premier League, and we can't discredit Bundesliga. Bundesliga, a massive league where it's like the Premier League, is it, or in La Liga? It's pretty much not much better than the Premier League, really. You know, especially with Bayern Munich walking it every single season. And he's done well to overcome Bayern Munich this season. But again, Almiron has done it in Portugal, overcoming Benfica and Porto, who walk it every season. Sporting Lisbon have been the main team in the last couple of years. If you do keep an eye on that league, they have been the main team. And they're not okay in Europe. So I think Alonso is the best man right now in terms of what we can see. But how much do we know about the Almiron? I think the people at Liverpool, I do watch a little bit of like other leagues and stuff like that, but not enough to say, yeah, I know this guy. I've mainly seen Sporting in Europe, if I was saying anything, but it's mainly those behind at Liverpool that I've been looking into who's best, and hopefully they do get the right guy, whether it is Alonso or someone else. We don't know yet, but I wouldn't ever discredit someone else just because the league they come from. I'd have a look at the situation that they're in, and then maybe have they exceeded expectations? Have they got the better, more sort out of the players than what they've actually got? Obviously, you're not going to look at the Australian league, for example. Not putting that down either. But what I'm saying is, it's not like we're looking at that. You know what I'm saying? It is the Premier League here. The players, players that Nunes have come from there, Jota's come from there. There's a decent amount of talent that's come from there, players wise. So why can't we look at coach wise over there? Helios says, evening, does anyone know the type of position FSG are trying to recruit Edwards for change and turnaround? I think they just want I think they want Edwards just to be the guy that just saves them, if I'm honest, because they're not going to have Klopp anymore to sort of mask what they're doing behind. Edwards worked for a couple of years because he was on the up. It's a bit difficult with Edwards because he was incredible as a magician to get the money that he did, and he worked for the sort of goal we had back then. He might work again, but to put Edwards wants this like to oversee the whole club. I think he wants to be in charge of the whole club, and to put that on one person, I think it's a bit difficult. I think it'd probably change. I think they'd make a new role for him.
Do you think it'd be similar to what Billy Hogan's doing? In that side,
I think he wants little total.
Do you reckon it'd be someone like in between Billy Hogan, and then he'd be the person in between like him, and then like the manager, he'd be the one who's Billy Hogan's basically like he's the one obviously that SFG have got controlling the club, haven't they, in a sense? Would he take a step back? Would Michael Edwards, if he come in and become that person, but his whole position will be to just focus on LFC? As far as I'm aware, Billy Hogan isn't just focused on LFC, is he? Like he does other things in the SFG.
He does. He is basically there. He is their like second-hand man.
Yeah.
I don't know if Edwards would choose that.
I think it'd be slightly different if Edwards did come in. I've seen there's been a few people on Twitter mentioning stuff like maybe coming in might be offered maybe a very small stake in the club or maybe an SFG or something like that to try and persuade him, which could be amazing. Obviously, if you kept up with Edwards since he's left, he's obviously set up the how do you pronounce it? Ludogorets or whatever it's called, like Ludogorets, but not the team.
Yeah, Ludogorets.
And he's basically the reason why he's refusing now to come back, supposedly, because even now it's according to what we're all seeing, he doesn't want to come back. He wants to do his own thing, but one thing that interests me is that he's also said that he's not completely like he doesn't want to just focus on football. He's quite happy to go into different sports. So I think if SFG maybe offered him like a small stake in SFG or something, even if it's just something
like the baseball things.
Even if it's just something ridiculous, like I don't know, 1% or 0.5%. You know what I mean?
Like that. I wouldn't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that FSG look at other sports anyway.
Yeah.
I'd rather, especially if someone's going to come in for Spider, they need to be focused on Liverpool and Liverpool only. If they are looking
I agree 100%. Yeah, I'm just saying what I think they might do. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't believe Liverpool need this bigger to come in and take over and create a new different role. I said earlier in the WhatsApp chat as well, I believe the manager's more important than the director of football. That's just me. I just think the way Liverpool are run as a club, Michael Edwards only really ever gets spoke about in the previous times in the transfer windows. So let's say we bring him back in, or we bring someone on that, that level back in, and then they're only getting spoken about for 2 or 3 months a season, and then in January. But then we bring in a manager who's not as good as the level of the director of football. We come in, I just don't think it's going to work. Like I've said, and I'll say it all the time. Like Liverpool have done so well because of Klopp. People can sit there and disagree with me and say what you want. The academy looks fantastic. We've done great in terms of buying and selling players. The infrastructure's gone to a level of that is world class and up there with the best in the world, which is exactly what we need to do. But if we didn't have the success that we had under Klopp, none of that would be there, in my opinion, anyway. SFG were never going to put the money in their own pockets, and to be able to subsidise the loans that they were taking out to then repay, we needed to be successful on the pitch. And I just think you have to get the right manager in to be able to do that. And we've seen over the last couple of years that, I know obviously we've still had a director of football, there's been things in place, and we've still got the recruitment team and stuff. I just think a manager's so much more important. And I go back to when, before Klopp come in, we were signing players like Balotelli and stuff like that, and we had all the data team and stuff and that in there, and it didn't work. We had Michael Edwards, he was in a slightly different role then, but
Ricky Lambert, wasn't it, as well?
I don't think Michael Edwards is going to happen. I think this is smoke for something else. I genuinely do. And I just don't know what it is. I agree with you. I don't think he should come in and be given a role where they're going to say, well, you look after Liverpool, but to give you a little sweetness so you actually do come back, you can have a little bit of control over what the baseball team's doing or what this is doing. We need someone that's going to come in and focus on Liverpool Football Club solely.
I don't think they are going to change their role structure around. I can't see it happening either. You're right in saying, so the success we've had has been built around that structure that has been in place for the last, 10?
12,
maybe?
13 years or something. When did it take over?
It was back in what?
When did it take over? 2009? 2010?
2009, yeah. Well, I go over it. I always remember this because the 12 years prior to FSG, we've won more trophies than the 13 years of FSG. We've only just equaled 8 trophies now in the 12 years prior to FSG. So this massive success that we've had under FSG I think it's overhyped to what success Liverpool's about, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it could be.
Klopp, that's all Klopp.
SFG does it. Like I'm one of the biggest critics. Maybe not as much as Damon, but I am. They could do a lot more, but they have done good stuff. Because at the end of the day, they could have done what the Glazers did and not reinvest back into the club. So they haven't been terrible. They could do more, but at the same time, I also think that Jurgen Klopp's just that good.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely don't see anyone in world football in terms of managers that could have done what he's done, and SFG have showed that they are willing to spend money that the club earn. And ultimately, if Liverpool don't win Champions League, get Champions League finals, get consistently back into Champions League, winning the Premier League, you don't get the likes of Nike and that coming in offering you a big money deal for new kits. You don't get, the money there available off prize money to, extend the stands and get a better training facility. I just don't think that happens. I don't think they were the type of people they haven't shown so far anyway that we're willing to go into their own pocket and pay for that type of stuff. But I do believe that in terms of how Liverpool have ran, it kind of feels right. It feels like it's organic. It doesn't feel like we're cheating or anything like that. But I just think
it's so
it's going to
funny
be
though,
interesting.
mate. So funny. I think this whole cheating thing. It's like, look at look at us. We're abiding by the rules. What for the last 20, 30, 40 years, when I'm watching football, not really many clubs have cheated like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like crazy for something that should just be the norm. It's just that's the expectations.
I mean, also like going down like the City route or the Chelsea route. We don't need to do that. We could afford to probably buy an extra very good player every season for the last 10 years, but haven't. You know what I mean?
I think it's like putting these City and Chelsea to the side. These are like complete different to what normal clubs run like. You know what I'm saying? The average club doesn't cheat. The average club doesn't go for over FFP rules. So to praise them for complying to FFP rules, for me, is a nonsense. If I'm honest, just because that's what clubs do. That's what clubs have been doing. This is what Liverpool did before. Man United have done it for years, and Man City before that. But it's like telling a child, "Oh, well done, good sitting." You know what I'm saying? It's just a simple thing to do. Klopp made what it is now, so Edward, trust me, is overrated. Kat, having said what Nathan just said about Klopp, like being like he's the reason why we've done what we've done. It's going to be hard for any manager coming in, whether it's Alonso, Amir, and Lex. This is what I'm saying about the biggest step up. Klopp has had to work on the shoestrings for the 9 years he's been here. And he's won what he's won. He still should have won more, but that's not an aim. So anyone manager that's coming in to work on shoestrings, they're going to look at it and think, so Klopp's only won that. What am I going to win? You know what I'm saying? So can Alonso be that guy, do you reckon?
I think he can, but I think kind of to what Nathan said, though, it's easier to win more if you have a better manager. But if Klopp has a better team, if Klopp has Kroos, Modric and Casemiro, he probably wins more. If you give us those players and you give us Roy Hodgson, if he has the centre-backs, that midfield and the front three, he might do better than Klopp. It's easier to do better with better players. So I almost think going forwards, the manager, you don't know, Alonso could go on, he could be like Bob Paisley, and he could go on and absolutely eclipse everything Klopp does. But that could be now because he's inheriting what looks to be maybe possibly a better team for the future. Like he might have a more well-rounded team. He might just have a slightly better midfield than Klopp did. So I think it is important about signing just players that will be world-class. Like I think the amount of players that obviously not every player works, but a lot of the players like Aspas and Luis Alberto went on to have great careers who were both really heavily Michael Edwards push signings. And not everyone's going to work out. And I think there were tweaks. Like I think Downing got signed because he was like top 10 creative players in the Premier League. And like sometimes it's not, but I think they honed it. They got it together. So I think for whoever comes in, I think like a good relationship needs to be formed, because it's like, I get people wanting maybe Wirtz, but I think don't do that. Don't sign as old players. You look at Pep, sometimes you might have a picture in your head of what they're like over there, but it might not work over here. I think you need a more neutral and non-biased opinion. Like Alonso might say, oh yeah, but then let's just say it was Edwards. Edwards might go, oh no, but look at this. He has this statistic where all the Premier League right backs who come over who tend to fail show these similar things. So maybe Frimpong can't defend against bigger, taller players or something. So I think...
Sorry to butt in, but what you've just said there, like about not buying like Florian Wirtz, I agree. Like I see the stats. I don't know if it's like 100% accurate, but it was something like Jurgen Klopp and Pep have never, like in this era,
one
like,
player, maybe
League,
one
player. I think it might be that they've signed from a previous club. Whereas you look at Eric Ten Hag, he signed Martinez, Anthony, Amrabat, Onana, like not to knock the ball down, like, but you know what I mean. Sorry, Carter.
Yeah, no, that's what I agree with. I think that the manager should have almost the choice of the players available, like that the sporting director maybe brings. Like I think that really needs to be established well, because whoever you bring, if you bring Alonso in and say, yeah, you're going to have these powers, you then mess about the sporting director. So I think we just need to just establish like a strong sort of setup. And I think whoever comes in, as long as as long as the director's good, the manager will be fine, and as long as the manager's fine, the director will look good. Like they both just need to. It's like yin and yang, isn't it?
Well, it was when Rodgers was the manager. One of the signings that we all seen going and be fantastic for us, but didn't work under him, was Firmino. Like Firmino was getting played out like left wing and stuff like that. And I also like you can't exactly blame Rodgers for it because he said he didn't want him.
Yeah.
So you've got it, but at the same time, there's a reason why we've got these nerds and geeks with all these numbers and data, and you've got to kind of you've got to get the manager in that matches the want for that type of stuff. Because if you don't, it's not going to work. Because let's say I feel like Alonso is going to. He just comes across like he'll be someone like, well, I whether he comes to Liverpool, whether he does well at Liverpool, I think he's going to have a good career, and I feel like he is going to be the type of person that would be quite happy to coach the players, manage the players, but also listen to the people that know a lot more than him. Because at the end of the day, Klopp's a fantastic manager, but you've got to the days of the 70s and 60s or even the 80s and 90s where the managers are going watch, 5 or 10 games a month where they go and scout the players themselves. It just doesn't work anymore. Like they can't. They've got so much more to do. So the right person coming in, the right manager's got to come in, the right director of football. It's interesting. Like we're in such a good position. Like last couple of days, us in the WhatsApp group have been talking about like whether Bacchetis is a 6, whether like this player should be signed or this and that. And you know what the best thing about it all is? As shit it is that Klopp's leaving, sorry for me French, but it's such a good position. And the conversations that we're disagreeing on are good things. You know what I mean? Just got to get the right people in. If we get the right people in, this could be a clip moment, but we're not going to do what United did. Like, it's impossible. I believe that the 11 that we had...
Don't go Gary Neville on me, mate.
I believe the 11 that we had that won the Champions League, like that era is the best 11 we've had for a long time. But I do believe that the squad depth we've got now, it's never been better. Like, we've got like 5 or 6 midfielders that on any given day, if they start, I'd be quite happy. Whereas when we had the likes of Gini, Henderson and Fabinho, Oxlade-Chamberlain, I liked him, but you didn't really know whether he was a midfielder, was he a left winger, was he an attacking midfielder, he wasn't sure. I just think right now there's so many young players as well. So many good young players coming through, which is just, we're blessed at the minute. And I think as much as we all want Klopp to stay, it's probably a good time for him to leave in the sense of what we've got going for us.
David Shakespeare here says, hi, David, Stu, Nathan Carter. Have we got Alonso? Yes, it's coming tomorrow, mate. It's signed, dotted line. You will see a press conference tomorrow morning with Alonso in the Leverkusen press conference with his Liverpool shirt on. Ready to go, my friend. No, we haven't got him, David. But it feels like it is getting closer and closer. It does feel, I don't want to say inevitable, but it does feel like it is going to happen at some point. But
it's got a Bellingham vibe to it as well, though, which is what scares me.
This is what I'm saying. The Bellingham looked absolutely certain. Deal. Especially when Bellingham went to a Chris Brown concert with Trent. I think that's when everyone thought, yeah, this is definitely happening now. And then, people offer better money. People are more, other clubs are more ambitious, unfortunately. So we could be twisting turns yet. And when we talk about like Wirtz and Frimpong coming over and things, this whole player talk right now for me, Stu, the player talk about, like even like Ornstein said, Fraser Fletcher also said about going for Wirtz and Frimpong. Where are these coming from? Because we ain't got a director of football or a manager yet. So why are we even talking about getting players in?
It's just typical rumour mill coming out of the mainstream media. Not always going to be reliable. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, are Liverpool going to sign some players? Yeah, of course we will. But from what I understand, the main targets are going to be centre-back and wingers. What concerns me a little bit more is the names that are coming out at the moment are players who don't have the best fitness record. You got the likes of Pedro Neto at Wolves, who could have played a hell of a lot more games for him, but his injury record is pretty poor. The latest name from Salzburg, Umar Saleh, coming out, his injury record isn't the best. Good player, can play centre-back and defensive mid, but injury record is patchy.
Wirtz is the same as well. He had a bad injury. He was out for like a year.
He was out for an ACL, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
For a long, long time. So I like the fact that obviously Liverpool getting tagged with all these players, especially a lot of them young players, young up and coming, real top talents. What I don't like is the fact that the vast majority of them seem to be injury prone already in their early 20s. We don't need that again. We've already had it with Thiago. Prime example is what's happened to him this season. Nobody seems to know anything. I feel sorry for the guy if he is out at the end of the day, because he's missing out on a lot of football and we're missing out on a really talented player. But the club can't afford...
It's age.
It's
that age, isn't it? As soon as you
yeah, I feel that. I do feel that.
Thiago's so good, but he just doesn't fit the way Liverpool want to play.
No.
Yeah.
Like, he'd probably be fantastic for Arsenal or for like City or someone, but I just think the Premier League, like, he should be playing football in Italy or somewhere. And like, I hate it because for me, he's one of my favourite players. Like, when he plays, he's such like, you're just in awe of him, of how he just everything. Like, you watch, like, Bruno Gomes is like a similar type player in the sense of what he try and do. But like, Bruno Gomes is just he doesn't look like elegant on the eye. Like, Thiago was like watching, I don't know, it's just mad. Like, it's just so good to watch, you know what I mean? It's just a shame with his injuries because, like they said the other week, it wasn't that bad. He could only be out for a little bit, and now Klopp's saying there's no way he's going to play again. You know what I mean?
You know those LCD of videos you watch, and there's like things that connect perfectly, and that's Thiago on a football pitch.
Yeah.
The way you watch it, it's just like that.
But it's also like someone like watching them videos, and then it's just like someone comes in and like knocks them all over.
Yeah.
That's his injuries.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly that. I mean, the jigsaw, I found a piece of jigsaw, and someone just pushes it all over the floor.
Yeah.
Stu, going on the Wirtz and Frimpong thing, do you think it's just maybe lazy journalism, possibly?
Yeah.
A bit lazy. Because Alonso looks likely, it's quite easy to link us with Frimpong and Wirtz.
It is, but it's a valid point you guys brought up that Klopp and Guardiola, both top managers, as an example, didn't bring any players, bar one, from their previous clubs. Will Alonso do that? I don't think he'll do it with Frimpong or Wirtz. Wirtz, I think, has already said, like you said, his dad's come out and said he's not going to go anywhere. I can't see it happening anyway. He signed a long-term contract there. Frimpong, Alonso will look at it and go, well, hang on a second, we got Trent. And potentially Ramsey as well, if he works out. And the only other position I think that Alonso, if he does sign, I really do hope so, the one player he does bring in is Hincapié. Yeah. As our centre-back choice, but he'll be expensive. He will be expensive. So that'll be my choices on it.
Joe, one of the worst things to ever happen to social media now is Twitter giving that blue badge out where you can earn money.
Yeah.
This is 99% of articles and stuff you're seeing right now is that. Because this is an extra income from, fair play, the game's the game to these, a lot of them are self-employed journalists, and like, we're the same. The LSE transfer room will post stuff, and that it's normal to do it because that's the way you earn money, and that's just the way the world goes round. But a lot of the articles,
you suggesting we post things that.
But what I'm saying is, like, this is one of the reasons why we're seeing so many articles now. Like, it's so easy to drag Liverpool fans in now and go, you're linked to Florian Wirtz, here's an article, but also here's a tweet with 300,000 views. That is me £15 or something, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy, isn't it? Because we all love it. We all, like, Liverpool could win every single trophy possible this season, and then, like, somehow we'd still won another 5 players. Like, transfers is one of the most exciting things in football. So it reels people in.
Look at Mbappe. Just look at the Mbappe stories, the rumours that constantly went round. That's just a prime example.
People still read it as well, though. We all know what's going to happen, but it sucks you in, doesn't it?
Yep.
The last time I got sucked in was Bellingham, so I'm not getting sucked in anymore.
I thought you were going to say something rude there, David.
We're not past Watershed, my friend, yet. We're talking past Watershed. Different styles may come out. Before we do move on to something different, make sure you do like the stream. Click subscribe if you are new to the channel as well, please. Share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, share it with your enemies, share it with my night fans if they want to come on here and just live a life as a winner for once. Live a life as a winner for a little bit. ACDC says would be very disrespectful for current manager Klopp to present a new manager, even if it was of it. I was just joking, by the way. We are presenting a new manager tomorrow. If you have taken that literally, but I think obviously though you're saying like the current manager we're gonna have to present the new manager before he leaves anyway.
I don't know if he'd care, I don't think he'd care because he's. This is not a decision where we're saying to him goodbye. Like, this is him saying, like, I'm going. Now, I can see the respect side of it, but I actually think he'd be all right, and he'd be all like, he will want the best for us because he loves the club, he loves the city, he wants the best for us. So it's a weird one. I think if it was like, we were sacking him or something, it'd be different. But I think the fact that he's come out and said, "Listen, I've had enough now. I need to have a break." Like, I think it'd be. I don't know. I think there's a slightly different.
I don't think it's disrespect, is it? Because I think we need to anyway. Because we've got to do it. Because at the end of the day, if we can't wait till Klopp leaves. That's summer.
That wants to know as well.
We can't wait till Klopp leaves. It's summer. So if it's summer, and then we've got. Also, if we do need to make transfers, we need to sort it all out before summer, and the pre-season starts quite quick. If the manager
signs before the summer, which it will happen, it's not going to stay unknown anyway.
And there's Euros as well.
The club will The club will have to release it the same way as, like, Klopp said. Like, the reason why they release it in January about him leaving is because they need to go and find the manager. They know it's going to come out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dave Shakespeare says here, if we do not get Alonso, what do you think of Ruben Amorim? Ruben Amorim is definitely one on our minds. According to rumours tonight that we have sent scouts over to Sporting Lisbon and the Benfica match tonight to look at certain players, but also Ruben Amorim's tactics and how he works. Again, we can't discredit people like Ruben Amorim, because what Ruben Amorim is doing at Sporting is exceeding expectations with the players that he's got. He's taking them above Porto and Benfica and Bundesliga, and that majorly above Premier League, to say, yeah, Alonso's definitely better than Ruben Amorim. Alonso's done very, very well this season, taking them above Bayern Munich and still being unbeaten. Incredible achievement. But, most people here, most people in our chat are Alonso-minded, and we are, and I myself want Alonso first and foremost, but I wouldn't be rubbishing off Ruben Amorim just yet, because he plays some decent football. He's getting the best out of his players, and that's all you can give him for right now. He's playing what he's got right now. Just because he ain't got a job in Germany doesn't mean that he's any less of a manager. He just hasn't had that opportunity yet.
You also get a lot less money in them leagues as well. Like, in terms like what they have in terms like look at Enzo Fernandez. He's the perfect example. I think he signed for like 8 million or something, didn't he? And obviously got over 100 million. Like, they're not like Leipzig, who was signing like Benjamin Sesko, who's people have knew about for like 2 or 3 years, playing in the Austrian league for like 20-30 million. Which is not a lot, like, by the way, for a young lad, but I like Bayern Munich buying Harry Kane and, things like that. They're buying players from, like, South America, or it's very rare. Who was the striker that he signed recently?
Victor Gyökeres.
Yeah, so he's quite a name that, like, people know about now, but, like, he was a bit of a gamble, and it's just, that league's, like, just so much talent in it. Like, the export of, like, players coming to playing the bigger leagues in Europe from that league is ridiculous. How many good players we see coming from there. Obviously, we mentioned Pedro Neto before. He probably come from there like at one point, and
if I'm honest, such a good player. I think Premier League, in terms of Europe, I think they've actually produced better talent more than what Bundesliga have in terms of like what have come out of it. I mean, Hulk came from Premier League, didn't he? He came across, and they're a bit like they get.
They've got loads. They've got Ederson. They've got Oblak. They've got You've got the likes of, obviously, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and players like that. There's so many good players coming from that league. Ruben Diaz as well. There's another player. So many good players.
You always get good South American players. I mean, Falcao came from there lower down, earlier on. Yeah. Hulk was one of the main first ones. And then he went into... A lot of strikers came from there first, mainly South Americans, and they worked themselves into Europe then. So I wouldn't discredit the Premier League too much to that far behind Bundesliga. I don't think Bundesliga is that special. It's going to be a step up for whatever manager we get. This is Jurgen Klopp. This is Liverpool. This is the Premier League. By the way, if we're going to go on managers, we might as well go for De Zerbi. If we're going to go on like what the best league is, he's exceeded expectations in the Premier League. You know what I'm saying? So is Graham Potter.
Do you think that he's been knocked down the peg a little bit just because of how poor they've done this season?
Yeah.
But you also think that it's a little bit harsh based on the fact that midway through last season he lost Trossard, and then the end of the season he lost Caicedo.
I think, unfortunately, mate, a lot of people don't use context in debates like this, and that's where it's absolutely key. Context is absolutely key in every debate you have, because
I'm sure they've made a profit like the last 3 or 4 years in a row, which is just ridiculous. And they're still doing a lot better than what they were 3 or 4 years ago. Do you know what I mean? And they've actually had quite a few injuries this season. And if you watch them, they're actually really good to watch. Like they're a little bit similar to Liverpool in the sense of like you'd expect them to maybe score goals or create a lot of chances, but you also have that little bit of naivety to them where like you'd expect them to concede a few chances as well, which makes it exciting in comparison to watching maybe someone like Man City. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously I'm not comparing Man City to Brighton, but you know, when you compare like Liverpool to Man City, I think Liverpool are a lot better to watch because of both sides of the pitch, whereas City are just a well-oiled,
City basically like it's like attack versus defense, isn't it? In training, that's what it is. That's what City are: attack versus defense, and defense are doing all they can to keep them out. They're not really creating much all the time. Where Liverpool try to create chances quite often.
Yeah,
and let you know certain games where we aren't, where like Man United, for example, where we're relying on long range shots and stuff. But I think we're a bit more. I don't know, we're a bit more exhilarating. We're trying to try something different. That's why we get caught a lot as well. Because we're exposing ourselves a little bit more on what City do. They're quite rigid, but we're a bit more open and free. Carter, let's go on to players then. According to Fabrizio Romano, the guru, as he would call it probably himself, Liverpool are wanting centre-backs on wingers this summer. That's who they're looking for. They're not looking for a DM. Remember we got McAllister at DM?
Yeah.
Gone to some people. Not DM. He's not. McCall's got number 10 on his back of his shirt. But anyway, we're not looking for any other midfielders this summer. According to Fabrizio now, we are looking for centre backs and wingers. Where do we spend the money then, Carter? What do we prioritise here? Centre back or winger?
I think there's more need for the centre half unless we sell a forward. But I almost think for like forwards, as sort of like Stu sort of said, like the players we're getting linked to are quite injury prone. So I'd almost like we're sort of positions like the forward line. I think we should definitely maybe be looking, and people might scoff at this or like disrespect it. But I think look in the Championship, like you get so much better value for money in the Championship. And how many top or very good players have come from the Championship? Bellingham, Gyökeres, Tony, Watkins, you got Adam Wharton, you got Bowen, you got Maddison, you got Grealish, you got Tammy Abraham. Look in the Championship, and you'll find like Gyökeres. Like if any of the teams in the bottom half of the Prem had signed him last year, or even mid or higher, or Spurs or Chelsea, they have a better player. Like I think there's definitely value. Like obviously you guys probably saw like his Rabona. Like I've seen him play 2 or 3 times for Hull, but Jaden Philogene could be someone who's quite cheap, especially if Hull go up. I think.
Signed for Villa though.
But so he signed from Hull. Well, he signed to Hull from Villa, and if they go up, there's a £15 million buyout clause.
It surprised me that they let him go because when I was watching him in pre-season, that like Premier League Cup thing that he had, he looked really good.
Yeah, no, I think that's me. He's supposed to be really, really good, and he played for all like England and stuff at the unders. But then maybe more like centre half. I just think you've got your young, like at me saying like a Championship guy. Quance is kind of like your young, sort of more inexperienced guy. And if you let Matip go, you need to get another one because Konate still hasn't played 20 league games in a season, so definitely have to be out there. And whoever's there, I won't really care if it's a 30 million, if it's a 20 million pound, if it's an 80 million pound player. Just whoever we're not getting completely overpriced for. Like if there's a 60 million pound player and we have to pay 80, I'd rather us pay 30 for a 30 million pound player. Like just get who.
Tosin?
Oh yeah, Tosin Adebayo. Yeah,
he's free in the summer, isn't he as well?
Yeah, he'd be someone good, or even then you just bring him in as another body, and then maybe you have Gomez as another left back, and you can move him around more. But yeah, I think someone like that. I don't think we should scoff our noses.
Smart purchase, yeah.
Oh no, he'd be really good. Like, well, Matip was free, so could be the next Joel.
There's definitely bargains out there to be made, and this thing where people say like, "Oh, is FSG out?" They just want £100 million players. And I've not seen anyone to this day just want £100 million players. Not seen anyone to this day. And we're not playing Football Manager. We're not playing FIFA. We're literally just playing football. And we just want the best for our club. And we want to make sure whoever takes charge now has the best opportunity to win trophies. Because young Klopp has been given shoestrings at times. And he's not won as many trophies as he deserves, if I'm honest. I'm hoping this season we can win all 4 so he can get at least a little bit more to add to his legacy and a little bit more conversation. Because at the moment, Jurgen Klopp's not going to be in the conversations with Fergie. He's not going to be in the conversations with Pep because of the trophy haul. There's other things involved in that, but mainly FSG have let him down massively. So we just need these right players. Like Kaz said, there's players in the Championship out there, and one of them's actually great at Leeds in terms of forward players. But everyone's going to be going after him.
He is going to be very, very hard to get hold of.
He's going to cost a lot of money, isn't he?
Yeah,
especially if he gets promoted.
But you got to get him early as well. If you do move for players like that, you got to get him early.
The thing is, though, like Klopp said this the other day, or yesterday, whatever it was. Like everyone's buzzing about the young lads coming in and winning and doing really well. And he's like, remember this when the transfer window opens. Which I agree to an extent. Like, I think there's a few players that have played the last couple of days or last week that I think I'm ready yet to definitely need a loan. But I also think there is players there that I think if you're in the squad next season, I will be absolutely fine. Like, I think Dan's has showed it. Not even just when he scored the other day. In the final when he come on, he played like someone that has been playing with the team for like a season or so. Yeah. I think Bobby Clark for me has been the most impressive, which like I seen a comparison on Twitter of like saying he's a similar, like he's got like similarities to like Adam Lallana, which he has, but I think he's just quicker. But I think there's definitely players there. The problem is it's just like relying on them for like a few games because you've got loads of injuries is great.
Yeah, and what teams you're playing against as well. I mean,
you've also got the risk, haven't you, of like, let's say we go into next season and we go, well, we've got Bobby Clark, we've got Dan's, and we've got
McConnell.
Let's say McConnell. So we've got them three, and I'm absolutely fine with them playing more games. But I feel like going into the season, it could be a case of where like we start really well, but then let's say we start fantastically, and Nunes and Jota get injured. We're all sitting here now and going, yeah, fine, Dan's coming and play. You're a great lad. You're going to score loads of goals. But he's 18. Do you know what I mean? He's still a kid. Like,
it's too much pressure.
That's what I mean. It's one of them, isn't it? But at the same time, we're all sitting here saying, go and sign the young lad from Leeds. It's going to cost you loads of money, but go and get him. Do you know what I mean?
That's the beauty of football, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's finding that balancing act of bringing through the youth players, giving them that just right amount of game
time. Taste, isn't it? Yeah.
Not going to affect the team, but at the same time, we all want to see a couple of big money signings. At the end of the day, we all want to see it.
There needs to be a mix. There does need to be a mix where we still need to sign these players, but we still need to look after, as you said, two things can be right at once.
Yeah,
I think that's what a lot of people don't see. I still think we need a DM personally, but and people say Bajcetic coming through, but I still see Bajcetic as number 8 from what I've seen of him, the way he plays, his technical ability, his flair going forward, his ability to drive forward. I don't want him sitting there as a number 6. Fabinho didn't do that, he might stray forward a little bit and then dink over top or something like that, but he still sat there as a number 6.
Fabio Carvalho is going to be an interesting one. Sorry to change it, but
Carvalho is an interesting one.
He's played really well for Hull, and I think he's too good for that league. And the ironic thing is, like let's say Alonso does come in and he might not adapt to the same style as what he has at Leverkusen, but let's say he does, he could be the perfect player for that system, playing as like an inverted cam or whatever, or like a wide cam at times, like whatever you want to call, whatever basically Florian Wirtz is doing and players like that. He could be someone that actually fits into that more than anyone else in the team that we've got.
But maybe really quickly, just to argue that someone I know who sort of supports Hull, like I've watched 2 or 3 games max, but they kind of said he's been good, but kind of it's the same from what he said. It's kind of similar to what I think we all saw at Liverpool, where it's if you give him the ball around the goal, he's going to score like he's a goal scorer. But I think outside of that, the rest of his play hasn't been that great. Even going back down to the Championship, and he has been played sort of almost double pivot-ish. But I think it's kind of interesting because Klopp obviously says that. But I think you all might not agree with me. But I think if you look at academy sort of 1A players, like the top, we've got Bradley, Bajcetic, and maybe you'd argue the young 16-year-old. Because if you're 16, you're that much better than all the 18-year-olds. They're probably like the ones who the 16-year-old's not ready. But Bajcetic and Bradley are first-team players. Like if they're on the lineup now, obviously you'd like Trent to play, but no one goes, oh yeah. Like they've now got first team player expectations. Whereas I think Clark and McConnell and Dan's are still in the position of they're not first team players. And their issue is as well, they all play in the positions where there's 8 players. Like if one of them was a proper number 6, or if one of them was a centre back like Quansah, like they'd have more of a chance. But the issue is, you can say that, yeah, we've got all these young kids, but we don't have a number 6. We don't have a centre half. Like Owen Beck could be a left back. That's why I think he's got maybe a better chance than Clark or McConnell. Because if you maybe move Robertson or Tsimikas on in a year, Beck's shown like in a similar level Bradley did that he's a top player in those levels. So I think it'll be interesting moving forwards.
Yeah, we've got too many like McClark, for example, like you said about the Lallana comparison. We've already got McAllister, we've already got Szoboszlai, we've already got Jones, we've already got Gravenberch. So it is hard for them to break through unless they show different levels. I mean, Harvey Elliott, I think, is a different level. I think Harvey Elliott can be a different level to Jones, if I'm honest.
I think Harvey Elliott has been massively overlooked this season. I don't think enough credit has been given to him, because when he was brought in as somebody who was being looked at as a possible replacement for Salah. Somebody could cut in off that right wing onto his left foot and play it around a little bit. But I think they quickly worked out he wasn't going to be quick enough to do that. Speed-wise, pace and acceleration-wise, he just isn't quick enough to do that. So he's changed and adapted his game into that more deep-line centre midfielder. And the last few games he's played, the final especially, and the FA Cup game, he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. And obviously, injuries aside, he could have played a hell of a lot more games for us in that position as well. I think he deserves a lot more credit.
I think he doesn't fit our system, though. I think if you put him in Man City's team playing right wing, he's perfect. Like, I think he does that. I think that's the problem he's got for us. Like, I think he's fantastic. I agree. I think he can go up to another level. I think, like, he played in the Premier League for Fulham when he was 15. Like, he's such a good player. And if you look into the stats a bit more, like his key passes and stuff like that, like per 90 and expected assists and stuff is like ridiculous. I see the chart earlier, and he's just. I think you'd have to look at the stats sometimes to actually appreciate how good he is, because as fans we just think, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Like you got to understand, like these are professional footballers. You know what they're doing. He's been told a specific role to do, and he's doing that. But like, he's just such a good player. But I just feel like the system that we play. I feel like he hasn't got the physicality side of it. Like he's not strong, he's not quick, and that's the only thing I will say. One thing I will say as well, it's not just the same for him. It's the same with Liverpool in general this season. I think he takes 30 or 40 minutes to get into a game as well sometimes. So I feel like we've seen a lot of the times when he was coming on, like 30 minutes to go, and he was just changing the game and was fantastic. I think sometimes he takes a little bit of time to get into the game as well, but I love him. I think he's a great player. I think him and Curtis Jones has been.
I still don't think either. I think he could be another level to Curtis Jones. I think Curtis Jones is class, but I think Harvey Elliott's got that little extra. I think that little extra spark that he's got. I still don't think we're getting the best out of him either.
No, I don't either.
I still think he's a number 10. I still think he's an attacking midfielder behind the strikers or behind the striker. So if we do get Alonso, for example, I wouldn't look at Wirtz. I would give Harvey Elliott a go. If he does play number 10, I would give Harvey Elliott a go number 10. He's not quick enough for the wing. I just don't think he's got that midfield mind to be a midfielder as a midfielder.
Yeah.
Number 10 is perfect. Give him off freedom. He can go on to the wing if he wants to go on to the wing. He can come back if he wants to come back. I think he's that player, that intricate player that you need in that outside the box.
I think he's completely different than most players that we've got as well. I don't look at another player that we've got in the team and think you're very similar to Harvey Elliott. Like I think he's completely different. Like for me, like I said, he's got similarities to like Bernardo Silva or someone, or like Foden or Grealish. Like I'm not saying he's exactly the same, but he's got like a little bit of them about him.
Same mold.
Yeah, just like the way, like not even just the role, just the way he plays football. And I just think if we can get that, like if we can get the best out of him, he'll go up a level to the point where like he is at that level of them players. Because at the minute now, he's a very, very good Premier League player, but he could genuinely be one of our best players. And I agree with what Stu's saying. He's very underrated for us. Liverpool fans don't rate him as much. And I think the system for the way we play doesn't help him. But like the last couple of games, fair play to him. Like he's played so many minutes and he's been a key part of what we've done over the last week in terms of like getting over the line in the final against Southampton. And then who was it that we played last week? Was it Luton?
The Luton game was absolutely his second half was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just think that he's such a good player, and I just think he's the type of player under a different manager. He could potentially have the team built around him in like the forward on the midfield. He's that good. And it's mad because like if we've got anyone in the chat now that's not a Liverpool fan and doesn't watch it week in week out, you're probably like, what are you on about? Like you're gonna build it around Szoboszlai because he's the big name that's coming in the summer, and you know it could be that, but he's such a good player. And I just wish he was like just a little bit bigger and a little bit quicker, because I just feel like he looks like Sulemana, was it, who plays left wing for Southampton yesterday? Like Harvey Elliott won the ball and he just took it off him as if like he was like playing with like a 40-year-old kid in the park. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that's the side that he does lack. He hasn't got that pace and strength, but ability on the ball, he's fantastic.
I know a Blackburn fan, and he said when I watched him in the cup the other night, he said I saw him back in his Blackburn days how good he was.
Yeah.
And these loans to championships, like I mean, Tyler Morton's doing well at Hull at the moment, and they're raving about him at the moment, so he could be coming back as well if he's an option. But it's definitely an interesting summer coming up with. Do you think this is the best?
Do you think this is the best group of? We can't get it forced on us in terms of like senior youth team players, but because of the injuries. But do you feel like this is we're in the best position we've been in terms of like the academy since, like Stu said earlier on, I don't know if it was before we started or when we started, about obviously like to Owen, Fowler, Cardigan and players like that. Do you think this is the best we've had it since?
Yeah.
The thing is with the academy, back in like 2019, the academy players, they didn't really get a chance. Yeah, I heard like Danny Pacheco. You heard about what was the other striker called? Remember
Morgan as well.
Yessel, Sammy Jessel.
Yeah.
Like he was meant to be like the next big thing, Sammy Jessel. They were like talking like Thomas Muller sort of level, Sammy Jessel. I don't think they ever got a chance. Like he said earlier, Luis Alberto Sousa, players that came not through the academy, but they came through as youngsters, and they didn't really get a full chance under the right manager. It's about did we have the same talent in the academy back then? We don't know, but was it used correctly? That's the question.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely the question.
Well,
was it? Do we have the right manager? They didn't have Klopp then. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have Klopp, so.
But he was. I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw. There was a guy who was at the academy when Rodgers was there, and I can't remember his name. He was like a big striker, and he went on loan to like Hearts or Dundee and stuff.
Adam Morgan, possibly.
No, it was I can't remember. But he was saying basically he just got absolutely like messed about. Like he was like it was quite a toxic academy. Like he was sent on loan, and the director of Liverpool told the managers and stuff, don't play him. Like that's what he was told by fitness people, and he was like, I think the treatment wasn't great of like some of the players, and it just wasn't like the most prosperous.
When was this roughly?
Around Rodgers, I can't remember.
Was it Jerome Sinclair?
No, it wasn't Jerome Sinclair. I can't remember. But he went on loan to Scotland.
Jerome Sinclair, he dropped off as well, didn't he?
Yeah, it's happened with loads though. Like Adam Morgan come on and play in the Europa League and stuff like
Adam
that.
Morgan,
and yeah, like he's a football coach now. He's got like his own coaching thing going on, and like it's mad that you mentioned Yessel before, because like I don't know why, but every now and again a player will pop into my head and I'll just Google him and look on like transfer market and just see the playing for. I remember doing it about 3 or 4 years ago for him, and he was playing in like the second or the third division Turkish league.
He was going to be the next big thing.
Yeah,
I remember the hype about him. And I didn't really jump onto hypes until I started watching actual youth academy players. The one player that I called out when I watched him at 15, 16, that was Raheem Sterling. That's a player I watched him at 16. He played in the academy, and I said, "Wow, this is a player." And then he played in the like under-16s World Cup for England, and he dominated again, Raheem Sterling. And then he got called up to
that era. They had a lot of good young players. I think that was when maybe Adam Morgan was just a little bit older than him, or around that time. Adam Morgan's about 30, 31 now. How old Sterling? Maybe 28, 29?
I'd say about the same. About 30 now. Yeah.
Yeah, he was so like there was like Conor Randall and all that as well, wasn't there? Like a few players like that.
Yeah. So we had some brilliant talent. I think it's just about managing that talent. So it's hard to say like, oh, we've got better talent now than we did. Our academy is much better than it did. I think it's how we've managed that talent to get that.
Football's moving forward as well in terms of everything. Like as Carter said there, that striker who he's probably trying to find now, he didn't get the opportunity. He wasn't told. He definitely is, yeah. And then like obviously now like the sports science and training and everything's better. Liverpool Academy itself and the the facilities are better as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's gonna go forward and move forward with stuff like that, isn't it?
Sports science is better as well, keeping
Darcy,
people
you muted.
Henok McKendy. I think he was there. I think he said him and Sterling. I remember it now. I've just seen it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's with like SDS, and I remember you saying like him and Sterling went to the same like school in Liverpool or whatever when they was there at 16.
Yeah, I remember that interview actually.
Henok McKendy, yeah. So it just shows it's a different experience. Yeah. That's why I don't think he got the good end of the stick. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
It is about
it is like that though, isn't it? Like you'll get like there's loads of players that like. Not to go off like the Liverpool side, but look at Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy was playing like Sunday League football, Saturday League, had trials for like loads of teams, and he didn't end up becoming professional football until he was like, how old was he? Like 20 or something?
Yeah, low 20s, like that sort of thing.
Like it's just crazy. Isn't it? One of the most important things is opportunities. You know what I mean? Like if you don't get the opportunities, then you can't. You can't. You're not going to play. You're not going to get to where you want to be. But you've also got to take the opportunity, which is obviously quite important.
Christine Nemeth. There's coming up some names I need now, you know.
Yeah.
Names. I tell you, help me with like names of players and stuff I remember just vividly. I think Football Manager helps a lot. You know, when you manage Liverpool, you get some in. You just remember certain names that do well for you or not do well for you.
Yeah.
You know, Christian Nemeth, another player that did come through that looks decent. There's been so many.
Jordan Ibe as well. Look at Jordan Ibe when Sterling was like playing as well. Everyone was like, Jordan Ibe could be better than him. Like I think he's just re-signed for the club now in like in the National League.
Yeah,
and he's had a lot of problems with like his mental health and stuff like that. But he signed for Bournemouth, didn't he, for like 16, 17 million or something in like 2016, 17 or something like that, and then just dropped off the face of the earth.
Damien Plessis, another one, the French midfielder, one, but I think we signed him. I think we signed him at like 18 or something. I don't think he came through academy. From what I remember,
it's just mad though, isn't it? Like you mentioned before, like Aspas is like he's a legend for Celta Vigo now. He's like 36. Like Luis Alberto still, I think he's still playing for Lazio anyway, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's like 31, and he's like he's been fantastic for them. He's been one of their best players in like the last 10 years.
This is what I'm saying about players. Like I'm saying about
Andre Wisdom's a mad one. I started the FN a couple of weeks ago, and he plays for Warrington, and I went Warrington because I seen him playing for them. Yeah.
Wow. This is what I'm saying about players and managers. And people say, "Oh, we dodged a bullet with Caicedo. We dodged a bullet with Caicedo." It's like, but you know, did we? If we got Caicedo, would he be the player the same way he is at Chelsea under Jurgen Klopp? You know what I'm saying? It's about getting the best out of what you've got and about the talent. It's about the manager that's around you, about the environment that's around you as well. You know, these players don't lose talent overnight. Look how good.
Yeah, he's definitely a good player.
At Brighton, the guy played at right back and he covered right back, didn't he, for a couple of games?
Yeah, it was more than a couple. It was for like a month or two, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Because Lamptey was injured, and who else did he have playing there at the time?
Was it March? Did March play a bit
possibly,
of right back? March and Gross play a bit as well, maybe.
Possibly, yeah. And then they ended up playing him there, but like in like when he had the ball, he was like kind of like coming inverted and going next to McAllister. And yeah, it's just mad, isn't it?
You don't lose your talent overnight, mate. You don't lose your talent.
I remember when we nearly signed him. I was in a court, one of my mates, and I was buzzing, and then like my heart just sank when I seen the next day, like when he wasn't going to sign for us. Like, as like this is again going back to the importance of bringing the right manager in. Like Jurgen Klopp would get so much out of Caicedo, like so much. Like there's an image been going around on social media the last couple of days since we won the final, and it's Caicedo sitting on the floor in the background, and Klopp's like standing there, like looking away from him. And it's just like, this is what you could have had. You know what I mean? Like you could have been there, and unfortunately for the young lad who's been born in South America. Where's he from again?
Ecuador.
Yeah, South America. Like money can play a massive factor into what you're going to do, and ultimately, you know, getting offered a contract that's like 2 or 3 years longer on a lot of money. It's just one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of them, and this is why it's so important now to get the right manager in, whether it's Alonso, whether it's Amorim, or you know, and again with the sporting director, it's so important to get that right as well, because Michael Edwards, I haven't gone on to Michael Edwards' thing tonight really yet, but FSG seems to be desperate to get him back, and for me, the reason why I think they're desperate to get him back is because he helped them not show their actual ambition.
Yeah.
I think he helped them massively in terms of we could sell this player for this. And it sort of worked back then because we was on the up, we wasn't where we was. So will Michael Edwards work where we need to sell to buy? It works back then, but we shouldn't have to sell to buy now. It works for Michael Edwards, and again, are we going to give someone that sort of power, that whole club power? That's too much, I think, for one person. I think it needs to be a group of people, and it's very important. I mean, you and like Charlie and everyone else on the chat earlier were having a debate about what's more important, manager and thing, and the structure. I think both important is each other for me, because that structure is absolutely massive. You look at the difference between Glazers and FSG for me is the structure underneath. I think
that's one thing that we've got to say thank you to them for. Yeah. I do believe that. I think that the structure that they've set up in terms of like the data stuff and like kind of like Moneyball and stuff, like you've got to, as much as I do think they could do a lot more, we could be in a position where United are right now where
it's getting football people, mate. It's getting football people. Glazer's got business-minded people in there underneath, and then that's how they didn't have a clue about football.
He just wants to capitalise on getting more money. That's what it was.
Yeah,
with the sponsors and stuff.
And I think FSG are like that minded the way Glazers are, where they're money minded, they want money, but they're just smart in doing it where they get football people in, and that's the difference. For me, we need to get the spine director in ASAP, and whoever the manager comes in needs to, come in as, I won't say as soon as, but definitely a few months before, a couple of months at least before summer. Because they need to know.
Do you reckon they're going to have the director of football? They want to have it sorted by like the first week of March, don't they? According to what we're seeing on.
It's pushing final limit. We've got a month left till April, so.
Surely, if they're saying like I think something's done already. To be honest, I think or something's like close to being done, because we normally see all the journalists start coming out speaking about things once everything's already started going. Do you know what I mean? Like thinking about like now we're obviously hearing a lot about Michael Edwards. Go back a week ago, we were also hearing that he was, there was nothing. Something's probably happened in the last week for the club to get a little bit of an indication that he might, for them to be leaking this news, because I don't think they would otherwise.
I think they're desperate. I think they're absolutely desperate to get in, because they're losing Klopp.
Yeah.
And with Klopp's magical wonders that he works, miracles that he works under FSG gone, they need someone there to help. He's already proven himself to work wonders under their tight constraints. And will anyone else work under their tight constraints? We don't know. We're going to find out very, very soon. Thank you everyone for joining tonight. Thank you, Carter, Nathan. I know Stu's not here right now, but Stu has been on. He will be back on next week, hopefully, Stu. Thank you, Stu, and I hope he had a brilliant first stream. He did absolutely fantastically, brilliant answers, and I'm glad everyone made him feel welcome in the chat as well. Thank you everyone for joining in tonight. Make sure you do like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Please make sure you watch us tomorrow night at 7:30 the same time as every night, and back again next week on Thursday. We are back into Europa League, so don't expect me to be on at 7:30 next week. It will be about 10 o'clock if you see me next week. Thank you everyone for joining, and hope you have a great weekend. Thank you.